So I thought I would talk about the power of your network as you grow your business, because I really contribute my network to my personal growth, and to get to be where I am today. So yeah, I want to incentivize and show everyone how they can use their network to grow personally and through your business and all the other great things in the list that we went through today. All right. So a little bit about me. I know that some of you on this call know me decently well, but my name is Mariah Sanji. I am the Executive Director of IDEA, the Infill Development in Edmonton Association here in Edmonton, which focuses on reducing barriers and creating education and information for our members, but I'll get more into IDEA later on. I consider myself a black sheep. As I kind of mentioned earlier, I grew up in a household with dual religions, and my parents are just the most fun and lovely people. My mom is Christian and my dad is Muslim, and they fell in love. They met when they went out dancing because this bar had really great music, and um, his best friend worked at La Chateau, and she shopped at La Chateau, and together that store brought them together, and and here I am. I also love jaywalking because I think that the city is not really built for people. So I'm excited to see cities kind of change in that way. And I also think our light system is just crazy. Um, and my goal in life is to create inclusive communities, partly because I've always been a black sheep and kind of different from the crowd, and partly because I think just inclusive communities are just way better than what we've got going on right now. So I do have a background in elementary education, and then I went back to school for human geography and urban planning. I did that because I really did love teaching, and I loved the classroom that I was in. And my second practicum, they did offer me a job, but I wanted to kind of take a wider lens at how the city could benefit kids, because I find we often plan for people in their 30s and sometimes 40s, but definitely not people who are eight and not people who are aging in their neighborhoods. I'm also terrible at math and science, which is why neither of those degrees centered around math and science. So yeah, I'm human and I have strengths, and then I also have weaknesses. Um, so yeah, and then I wanted to share a little bit about the different teams that I've leaned on over the years to get me to where I am today. So I'm really lucky to have a wonderful family that is crazy, and we joke around about it all the time, but we lean on each other and help each other grow. Growing up in two religious communities really helped to show me that everyone wants happiness, and everyone wants to be close to others, and wants to do good and be kind. And I think if we can focus on that, I think we can create great places and spaces for everyone. I'm really integrated in Edmonton's ball hockey community randomly. My husband is really into ball hockey. So I've spent the last 12 years in all of the different ball hockey spaces in Edmonton and score kept for a long time. I was a part of my community league while I lived in North Melbourne, and I loved that community league. I sat on Edmonton's Transit Advisory Board. I have amazing university and high school and all the other friends, school friends. I have great work friends. I have great friends at Homestead. And then my organization, we use the acronym IDEA instead of the Infill Development Edmonton Association because that's a mouthful. So those are my main communities and teams. So how they all tie into where I am now, the hard skills, the soft skills, the help and the connections that they gave me. So I'm also not great at math and science, but I'm also dyslexic. So my family has helped me with my writing skills, and my husband is super lovely and reads our newsletter for my company that goes out every week to make sure that the grammar and spelling are great, and we kind of talk through what works as a family and what doesn't. If I'm having issues at work or in my personal life, I always go to them. In my religious communities, I had to give talks on Sundays at some times, so that helped with my communication skills and public speaking skills. It helped me become very community minded. from the ball hockey community made me really confident in my decision making, because when you have two very passionate hockey teams wanting the ref to change their mind on something and the ref comes to the scorekeeper, you have to know exactly why you made that call, because there's 20 people that are very, very passionate on two different sides. And I have great friends from that. My community league, I learned a lot about the challenges that community leagues are facing in Edmonton. And then I ended up making some political friends. I have a passion for politics because I know how influential it is on our community. And my best friend from my community league helped me kind of get involved in local politics and work on some campaigns and get to know some of our current councillors and our mayor. I got the opportunity to sit on the Edmonton Transit Advisory Board, learning about how the city works and how we move around as Edmontonians and what we can do to make it better. I was able to make connections that landed me the job that I'm in right now. My university friends, planning is all around you, and sometimes it's intuitive and you don't even know it, and sometimes you need to take a step back and kind of figure out why things are the way they are. And as I took on this job as executive director for IDEA, I was able to lean on them for connections to other companies, as well as just growing some of our volunteer boards and getting them opportunities to meet other people within the industry. My work friends, we talk a lot about women's health issues and mental health issues. That's not always things that you can talk about with everyone, and so I'm really grateful to have a group that I can lean on to talk about women's health in particular. And then Homestead friends, I got to learn an introduction into reconciliation. That was not something I never learned in school. And there was a wonderful member, and I believe she's still a member, that taught me all about that. And then you can see it in this photo. It's at Homestead. There was a photo booth, fun hangout one day when it was pre-pandemic. And the guy with the banana, his name is Scott Carmichael, and he did the mural that is featured in Melvy's photo. And he's a very talented artist, and he has helped me in some of the professional work that IDEA has had to take on. And so it's really a community, and yeah, I'm really just super excited and happy to be a part of Homestead. So a little bit about the Infill Development in Edmonton Association. What is Infill? I think now knowing a bit about everyone who's on this call, I'm guessing you know Infill pretty well. It's residential and commercial spaces that make a city a community, where we're redeveloping on already existing land with existing infrastructure. So here are some photos of our members' work. Shout out to Armando, because his project is featured in this slide. It's this really great project right here. I'm really, really excited to see it come to fruition. I think it's really beautiful. I just wanted to highlight it because often people think of infill as just skinny homes, and there's so much more to than just skinny homes. Rogers Place is an infill project. So yeah, and then our organization works on influencing change, informing our members, councils, and others all about infill and the issues and opportunities with it. We like to interact with like-minded people, so connect our members to each other to help grow their business networks, to take on opportunities for work, and meet people who are really passionate about Edmonton. And our mission statement is to drive change toward people-centered communities. And here I've highlighted, we did a board event where we got to do a tour of the McLaren building. So Henry Edgar was gracious enough to give us his time about the project and how it was built and some of the challenges that him and his team overcame. The next photo is in development. So that's Scott helped create that design. It's our podcast talking all about development in mid-sized Canadian cities, some of the challenges and some of the opportunities. We have 5 episodes out right now. So that started off in September, and episodes come out bi-weekly. And not the next episode, but the one after that, there is a Homestead member featured, which is really exciting. And our first episode was from the founder of our organization and is also the lead Homestead member, Tegan. And yeah, so that it was just exciting to kick that off. And then IDEA also has an infill education program. We talk about design, permits, construction, and community. And that education program would not have been possible without the connections of leaning on who I know and have got to know throughout my time. So the education program was an initiative that IDEA took on. We started pushing for it and bringing the opportunity to City Council. In 2018, we wanted to create an expedited program because Greenfield has an expedited program to expedite their permits. And we said, hey, can we do something similar for infill? And they said, well, the Greenfield one is based on volume and infill doesn't do volume. And we said, true that. What can we do? What are some of your pain points? And they said, people often don't know how to complete a full application. And so we said, okay, well, we'll train people on not only applications, but also on some of the other things that the community cares about and that the industry cares about. The industry was asking us for more information on design. The community wanted better construction practices and better engagement with the industry. And so we tied it all together. Our teachers are magnificent. And this is like a volunteer run program, volunteer created program. There was over 40 industry experts and community experts that helped create the content. And now we are about to run our 5th round of the education program in 2 weeks. And we'll have trained over 50 different development companies in Edmonton on best practices in infill, and then they can get faster permits. So that's really, really exciting. Yeah, so I wanted to say that myself and the organization I work for, IDEA, wouldn't be where we are without leaning on each other. Our organization is very small but mighty. It was started in 2013 by a group of architects, designers, and community members that saw that development patterns were changing in Edmonton, and there wasn't a group of experts that council and administration could go to as they made changes to things like the zoning bylaw and safety codes and everything else. So thank goodness for those for that group that kicked it off. Since then, we've done 4 infill tours. We have a cost share program with EPCOR in the city of Edmonton. We've made multiple changes to the zoning bylaw. And I applied for a grant 2 years ago that we were unsuccessful, unfortunately, getting, but it was something crazy like 80% of IDEA's strength is through our volunteer network. And I'm so grateful to all of those people because we're an organization of 1.25 employees. And when they hired me, they took a bet on me and we figured out how to pay for my salary later. And the person that we were able to hire over the summer, she is fantastic. And her name is Ghazal Lofty. She's a master's student at the U of A. She has taken our organization from like being able to do a lot, but she is like an expert in communication and communicating out what we do, which has been able to help us grow. And we had an article that came out about our organization in the Edmonton Journal last week, talking about our very, very close relationships with some of our current councillors that are new on City of Edmonton's council this year, and how infill is very important to our city. And that is all thanks to everyone who has contributed to the organization.